at campus, Sofia Benjumea, head of Campus Madrid, and how to accelerate the ecosystem. Come on! Woo, woo.
Thank you guys. You rock, never better. So, hi everyone. As Alex was saying, I'm Sofia. I'm the head of Campus Madrid, and I was the co-founder of South Summit, so it's very special for me to be here. 2 years ago, we launched Campus Madrid, which is, for those of you who actually don't know what it is, it's a Google space in the south of Madrid, 2,500 square meters, and is a face and it's a platform where any startup, any entrepreneur can come to learn, connect, and work on the projects that we hope will become global startups. But back then, 2 years ago, everyone kept asking, why Spain? Why is Campus the fourth in the world opening in Madrid? And I think today, and I'm very proud of that, I think today no one seeing us, he's seeing art here today, would dare to ask why Spain. Another question that came very often was, why is Google doing this? And again, the answer here, it's in Google's DNA. Entrepreneurship and innovation is in Google's DNA. Here we have the typical picture of the founders in the garage, but I tend to say that Google didn't start in a garage, they started in a campus. It started in the University of Stanford. And these guys, they haven't forgotten how tough it is to start a company, how important the ecosystem that surrounds you it is to start a company. And 6 years ago, when Google for Entrepreneurs actually started and the idea of Campus started, they said, we're investing, we're acquiring, we're working with startups, but that's not enough. What makes an ecosystem, it's community, it's education, it's creating a platform or knowledge sharing, it's culture. And how do we do that? And then it's when we launched Google for Entrepreneurs and Campus Madrid to give back to the community and support other ecosystems outside Silicon Valley to get accelerated. And since then, we're a community in Madrid of 34,000 members. 38% are women. We started with 30%, still working on that. We've hosted over 1,500 events, community events, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about the programs later on, but we are a big, amazing community, very dynamic, and still learning. One of the major things that we do is our programs, our education to help startups grow. And as any startup, we've pivoted. We've tested many things, but we've always changed, trying to see what our market fit was. Where can we have the most impact? We started in 2015 in June, and the focus was to reach. Let's reach as many people as possible. Let's do as much content as we can. And the other one was diversity. And in only 6 months, we hosted 190 hours of content, 3,000 participants, 64 sessions, and a lot of programs to foster and to try to tackle different with seniors, with moms, with women. Then 2016, we realized if we really want to have an impact, we need to focus most of our resources on helping less startups and bring the best of Google. And what's the best of Google? The talent. So we started working with different formats like Campus Exchange, bringing startups from all across Spain to Campus for a couple of weeks, introducing them to corporates, to experts from Google. And then we launched Campus Expert Summit, the first edition. 14 Googlers from all across the globe, VPs, directors, the chief of sales for the US, came for 2 weeks in Spain to help startups. We started with talks and workshops, and again, reach, but we realized that where they could have the most impact if they sat down one-on-one to really work with startups and help with their expertise and their knowledge. The impact was amazing. So it drove us to 2017, and that was, let's focus on growth. Let's really focus on most of our resources on working much more in depth to help the startups become role models, to help startups that are already launching the market, have some traction and starting to get international. Let's make them just become huge global companies. And why is this important? Why do we need to focus on that phase of the startups to really make them scale, to really make them succeed? Do you know who these guys are? This is the famous PayPal mafia. Out of a company of 220 employees, they founded 7 of the unicorns of today. And this existed already in Spain. This is the effect of 20, kind of the first startup that succeeded, acquired by Telefónica, and out of 160 employees, I think, they have whether founded or invested in 6 of the 6 scale-ups from today in Madrid. So we kept thinking about that. We need to create those role models that will actually foster and accelerate the ecosystem. If you're not yet convinced, here we've got, for example, John and Ander from TicketBiz. They exited a year ago. Now they're investing more than 30 million euros in startups in Spain. The same with José del Barrio from Samaipata. But not just investing, we also have the other founder of La Nevera Roja, who founded OnTrack. And in only 6 months, with all the expertise he had gained, with all the knowledge, in only 6 months, they were already a company of 70 employees. So that was what we need if we want to accelerate ecosystem. Not to lose the expertise, not to lose the experience, not to lose the engagement, to create a platform of sharing. So what are we doing is focusing on the major problems that the startups have. Recruiting and selling. So we've brought over 50 corporations to sit down, close to 300 meetings between startups and corporates, trying to close that gap. We've organized Startup Job Fair, 900 people came, 30 startups looking for talent, and 30% of those hired that same day. And then we launched Campus Residency a couple of months ago. It's a program to actually help 6-7 startups grow, and the focus is let them grow to become the role models of tomorrow. So what do we do? How do we help them? First is access to talent from Google and from other companies that have already scaled up. We've done it with experts from Google. Here we've got one of the directors of corporate development that not only sat down during the 2 weeks that he was in Madrid with several scale-up companies from Campus Madrid and also but he's still in touch with them. He's still having monthly catch-ups and helping them in their strategy. Then we share part of our methodology at Google. A methodology that is a framework to structure the objectives and key results of any company. It was established by John Doerr, the first investor at Google. He was the one who implemented it back in 1999, when Google was still a company with only 50 employees. Because he said that ideas were worth nothing, that success was in execution, was in the strategy. And OKRs is the key framework for structure and for strategy. It gives alignment, it gives focus, and it gives transparency. So it also adds that culture of collaboration and focus and ambition among the company. And what's better, this is something that we are implementing in the startups from our programs, and they will grow and be able to grow with it. They will leave the program in 6 months, but they will keep this methodology. Google today, 50,000 employees, still uses it. Another methodology that we share is Design Sprint. It's Google's venture methodology to help startups and companies from their portfolio research, test, and launch new features in only 1 week. Another part of the connection we're trying to build between startups and Google is access to deep tech, access to some of our best engineers. Here we have Sergio Guadarrama, who is actually leading the TensorFlow machine learning efforts. Not only has he come already 3 times to Campus Madrid, but also we've created a program that's a global TensorFlow outreach to actually connect some of the best startups from the places where we are based to connect with his team. And then, of course, global connections. Campus Madrid is just one of a network of 6 campuses around the world. We also have 50 partners spread across the globe, and we want to facilitate that going global for the startups from our community. One of the examples that we have is one of our partners called Blackbox Silicon Valley. They help startups from across the globe soft land in Silicon Valley, get access to corporates, to investors, and already 2 other founders, in this case 2 women, which I'm very proud of, actually have participated. Lupina, the founder of Fintonic, and Carlota, the founder of Hola Luz. And last but not least is the culture. We don't talk enough about the culture. And I think it's one of the key ingredients to the success of Silicon Valley. It's something that we need to bring to any ecosystem if we want it to flourish. I was talking about the beginning about how we need to share our expertise. We cannot lose that. Otherwise, there's no way we will be able to accelerate the ecosystem. And on the other hand, I was talking about how we're now focusing more on less startups. So what about the rest? What about every startup that is starting, that come to the cafe, that just have an idea, or they're just about to launch? How do we serve them? How do we help them? By establishing a culture of giving back. So every startup that participates in one of our programs, like residency, they have to give back to the community. They have to be the ones to help those that are in the very early stage with their experience. And what best than have someone that just did it to help you. So every Friday we organize these talks at the cafe in which founders from a residency program talk about how to build an MVP, how to hire a first developer, how to launch a platform if you're not a tech guy, how to acquire your first 5,000 users. Zero bullshit, entrepreneur to entrepreneur, and very straight to the point. And another program that we've launched is Pitch to a Campus Resident, in which, again, everyone that has an idea needs to pitch. And let's face it, your friends, your family will probably say, yeah, it's good, go. But here, what we ask is, have no mercy. Just go pitch to a resident, and they'll be frank, they'll be transparent, and they'll try to help you, but being sincere. So this is what we're trying to create, really give access to talent, access to some of the methodologies that had driven Google to where it is today, access to our technology, access to try to spread the culture of Silicon Valley, some of the culture of Google. And now I also want to just briefly finish by presenting Startup with Google, which is a new website that just got launched a month ago. It's still only available in the US, but I mean, you can actually, it's only in English, that's the only barrier. With all the products and all the that Google offers for startups. At last, we have a one-stop shop for anything that Google offers to the startups. So this is what we're here. We're here to stay. We've pivoted a lot as any startup since we launched, but we're here to stay and to learn and to try to create that platform of knowledge sharing to really try to accelerate the ecosystem. Thank you so much.